Oh, I am off. Robot kind of nipples. I can see why people would scrap these cars. F you, man. I'm so done with this now. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 5:33 a.m.
Morning, guys. It's 5:33 a.m. in the morning and I need to go to London. But there's one small problem with that. My daily diesel driver should be parked there, but it's not. And the reason it's not is it's in for its MOT. That means today I'm going to have to commute in my RS6. I know what you're thinking, first world problems. Well, the problem is it's 5:33 a.m. and I need to do a cold start on this 4-litre twin turbo V8 inside the garage. So it's going to be pretty noisy. And I don't think the neighbours are going to be too happy. But needs must. Jesus. Right, let's get this out of here. They're not going to be happy about that. So good news. The daily ship box did pass its MOT. However, it did get a couple of advisories, but to be fair, I was expecting that because it is a daily ship box. So I pulled it in Dad's garage today to do some routine maintenance on it, and there's a few jobs we're going to do to get this thing running sweet. But just look at how much extra room we have with the A4 in here rather than the RS6. The RS6 is so big, when you put it on the ramp, the wheels hang off either side of the ramp, whereas here, the ramp sticks out either side of the car. The RS6 is just so wide, and with those 15 and 20mm spacers on, it just pushes the wheels so far out. It's crazy, but we've got loads more walk room here. I can freely walk through here, which is nice. And look at all of this space down here. I've got loads of room, so much more space, but I can't complain because it is nice to have an RS6. But the RS6 obviously isn't my daily because a 4-litre V8 twin turbo does drink quite a bit of fuel. So actually, it's not the most practical car for a day-to-day basis. Hence why we have a 1.9 TDI daily ship box. So one of the problems I do have with this car is it's leaking power steering fluid all over my drive. You dirty boy. So the first thing we're going to do is take this off and then have a bloody good look. So the coolant reservoir is just held in place with one screw. Once that's undone, I can unhook it from the back, then remove the sensor clip at the bottom and just put that to one side, and that gives me much better access to see where this pipe's leaking. So this is the pipe in question here. It connects directly to the power steering pump there and runs down here along, and then just at the back here, put my torch on, it connects there and goes around the back. So this is where it's been leaking from here. I did try and fix it with some quick steel putty and wrap a Jubilee clip round, but it just didn't hold it, too much pressure. And you can see it's just full of power steering fluid down there. So that under tray is going to be horrible when I take it off shortly. I'm not looking forward to that. But I managed to get a brand new second-hand one off eBay from Poland, believe it or not. So we're going to get the car in the air and see if we can fit this bad boy. So the first thing to do is take off these under trays and try not to get any of this power steering fluid in my eyes because it's dripping already. It's going to be absolutely caked. Here we go. Yep, plenty of fluid there. Let's have a look underneath. We definitely have a leak. Nice. We've definitely got a couple of leaks. But that's okay because it's the daily ship box. So this is the pipe here, guys, and it connects to there and it runs all the way along here. And I'm guessing it connects to the steering rack at that side, but there's no way I can get any access to this pipe up here. The pipe just runs there. I don't know if you can just see it, that black one there at the back, but it runs right in there. And I think it connects to the steering rack there, which is this bit here. So I think what I'm going to do is attempt to try and loosen that. Now I've got a little bit of access, get a couple of spanners. I'm really not hopeful. I don't think that's going to work. I think I'm going to be snapping something, probably my back. If I can't get that undone, then the next thing is to take this wheel off and see if we can get access here. So this is the steering rack, and that pipe connects just behind here, I think, and there is a bit of a plastic access cover there, so we might be able to get that off. If we can get that off, we should be able to get access, but it is an Audi after all, and most things are well hidden and not easy to access. But let's have a go, see if we can undo those bolts first, and if we can, that'll be a quick fix because we can just literally connect the pipe from there and then down to here. We all know that's not going to be the case, but check back in a second and I'll see if I can crack this nut. That's what she said. Tighten that, loosen that. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Nah. Right, let's see if we can get access behind the wheel, because that is not going to come. Right guys, so this is the wheel well here, and I'm hoping with the wheel off, I can get access to the steering rack here and take off this plastic panel, and then hopefully that pipe will just connect somewhere behind here and I'll be able to get to it with a socket, because there's no way I'm getting those couplings undone with those spanners. It's just not happening. Right, let's get this off. Oh, there it is guys. That is the other end of the pipe that we need to get off there. So we should be able to get the socket in there and take that end off. Perfect. Right, so I've got a bucket here just in case there's any fluid leaks out, which there probably will be. It's such a tight gap that, but I can just get a 19mm spanner in there to hopefully get enough leverage to crack that. I'm hoping it's not going to be too tight, but no my luck it will be. It'll be completely seized on. Oh yes! I don't know what I was worried about. There we go, out. Let's do the one at the top, and then we'll worry about how we're going to get that out, because I imagine it's probably fixed in the middle of the engine bay against the firewall with no access to disconnect it, so we'll worry about that in a minute. So access to the other end was really easy, just through the top, and I could crack that loose with a 21mm socket, and the pipe in the middle was only actually connected with one Allen head screw, so it wasn't too bad in the end. But these are the positions I put myself in to get footage for you guys. Yes! Right, there we go. One broken, leaky, high pressure, power steering fluid pipe out. So guys, here it is. This is the culprit. That is where the pipe had basically corroded through, where this rubber bit joins to the metal. It corroded through, and I did try to do a temporary fix with some of that quick steel putty, but it's not done the job, and it's been power steering fluid for the last 3 weeks. So let's put this one in the bin and get the new one on the car. Well, new-ish. Maybe it'll be easier if I feed it in from that way with the thin end. Let's give that a go. So with a bloody good tug and a quick spray lube, cleaner, we can then get the top end of that pipe back in place, give the nut a good screw, get the tool on it, and then we're ready to go down and connect the other end. Easy. Oh. Right guys, I have been f***ing about with this for the last 3 hours, and I cannot get that bolt, that banjo bolt, back in there. I just cannot get my hands in here and under here in a way that lets me get that banjo bolt lined up with the threads and screwed in. I've been trying for 3 hours now. My hands are killing me. Like, oh God, there's just everything's so sore. I think the only thing I can do now is try and take this pinch bolt out, drop the suspension and free up this steering arm, and then hopefully I can maneuver it around a little bit, just enough to get that bolt back in. But I am f***ed off, to say the least. The easiest bolt to get off, the one I cannot get back on. I'm so done with this now. Right, hopefully that's going to give me a bit more access. Fuck you, man. 3 hours, man. It's back on. Jesus Christ, that was ridiculous. 3 hours that took, and then it's taken me another hour since I took the suspension apart. 4 hours to put that friggin' banjo bolt back in. I can see why people would scrap these cars rather than pay a garage to do that job. Oh my days. Right, let's get the suspension back on, get the car load down, and then on to the next job. So one of the advisories on the MOT was the rear brake pads were severely worn, which I thought was strange because I changed them like 6 months ago. But upon further investigation, if you look at this brake pad here, it's actually worn down almost to the metal. In fact, there's hardly anything on there at all. And it's probably worn the disc down quite a bit as well. But if we come around the other side, you can see this one has loads of meat left on it. In fact, it's almost a full brake pad. So that can only mean one thing. We've got a sticky piston. Ooh. So what I've got here is a brand new one that we're going to stick on that side because they're fairly inexpensive. So we'll put that on. And then while we're on, we've got a fresh set of brake pads that we'll put on both sides so we have even stopping power. So to take the caliper off, we just need to undo these two 30mm bolts that connect the caliper to the caliper sliders. We then need to disconnect the brake line and obviously crimp the pipe to make sure the brake fluid doesn't leak all over. And then finally disconnecting the handbrake by getting this little knob out. So here I'm just loosening the caliper by taking out those two 30mm bolts. With the caliper off and the brake pads out, you can see just how worn they are. With a screwdriver, I can jam it in and get this little knob out, which will release the handbrake cable. Now using these TMU special brake pipe clamps, I clamped the brake hose down, but it was a complete waste of time because they did absolutely nothing. Note to self, buy premium equipment next time. Now I just quickly clean up the connection with a wire brush before getting my ratchet spanner on and disconnecting the brake line. And obviously wrapping a bit of tissue around it because those TMU clamps did nothing. And there we go, one dirty, grimy, sticky piston off. Right guys, so the caliper's back on and I was just trying to get it screwed or connected back to the caliper carrier and I realised the bottom one of these wasn't moving, it was kind of seized open. So I've just taken it out and I've cleaned it, I've sanded it back and I've put some WD-40 and some brake cleaner inside there and now it moves freely. So actually, we possibly didn't have a sticky piston, it was just this thing needed unseizing and lubing and we didn't have to buy a new caliper, but you live and learn. Anyway, let's get this back together, get the car down, and then we've got one more job to do before I take you guys somewhere special this afternoon. So, come on. So here I'm just cleaning off any grease on the discs with some brake cleaner, and then applying a little bit of copper grease to the contact surfaces just to make sure they don't squeal once they're fitted back in. And you can see here just how worn down those brake pads were, so it's probably just as well we're putting a fresh set in at each side. With the brake pads installed, we can then reconnect the caliper and just tighten down those two 30mm bolts, and that's job done. Right, so that's the new caliper on and fresh brake pads on either side. All we need to do now is bleed these bad boys. So, I'm going to get my wife to give me a hand. All right, love. Do you fancy popping in the garage for a second to do a bit of the old up, down, up, down?
All right then.
Up, down, up. Is it getting harder? It's getting harder. Right, that's good. Is it getting harder? Okay, so that's the new caliper on, the new brake pads on, the new caliper bled with the old up and down, the wheels back on. There's just one more thing we need to do now on this daily shitbox before I take you guys on a special little trip. So, come with me at the front of the car. So earlier on in the video, you might have noticed I had a headlight out. Well, to be honest, I didn't notice because the bulbs in here are so crap anyway. But a company called Auxito have kindly reached out to me and said, would you like to put some of our super bright LED headlights in your car? And I said, well, yes, I would, thank you very much. So they sent me out a little box here to try, and to be honest, they look pretty cool. In fact, they look like some kind of futuristic looking robot kind of nipples, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not, as it happens, but what I am into is making my headlights look brighter. So I'm going to stick these bad boys in and see what they're like, and I'll let you know if they're any good. And if they are, you can get 10% off these headlights or any other products on Auxito's website, because they've kindly sent me a link for 10% off, which I'll leave in the description. So you can go on there and shop to your heart's content with 10% off, so why not? Now I know they do some other products, so one of the things they do is like a battery jumper pack, and they also do some like off-roading headlights, which might come in handy. So if you want to send me those guys to review, then please feel free. But for now, thank you very much for the headlights, and let's get these bad boys in. Oh yeah, that's what she said. Oh guys, I'm just getting the old headlight out here, and you can absolutely see the difference. I mean, no wonder the headlights are shocking. I mean, look at the difference between this original OEM one and this new LED one. It's going to be so much brighter. So let's get this one in. There we go. That's the other old one out. The new robot nipple. Oh yeah. So here we have the OEM factory lights. This is one installed, and you can see the difference. And when they're shining on the garage door, you can see how yellow the OEM bulbs are compared to the new Auxito LED headlights. Whoa, just look at them bad boys now. Super bright. Nice one, Auxito. Right guys, so that is now all of the odd jobs and sods done on the daily shitbox. It's time now to take you on a special little trip. So here I am. I'm at an undisclosed location somewhere in the northwest. I'm a little bit early, but I'm here to do a dirty deed. Not a dirty deed, a deal is what I mean. I'm here to do a deal on hopefully the next future venture and project for In Dad's Garage. That's right, I'm here to hopefully pick up a new project car. It's something I've wanted for a long time. In fact, I'm really excited about it because it is really cool. Well, in my opinion, it's really cool, and I'm sure, and I'm pretty confident actually, that you guys are going to really enjoy it too. So let me go and do some negotiation. Let me waft some cash in front of his face, and hopefully I'll check back with you guys very shortly and give you an update as to what we're going to be doing. Oh, right guys, we're on our way back. We've made the deal. We have the automobile. It's in that flashing trailer behind us. I don't know if you can see it. I can't disclose what it is yet though, because that is going to be another video, a full reveal video on the channel. But I am very excited. The guy I bought it off, super nice. Got to see it go, but it's come to a new home. It's come to In Dad's Garage, where we're going to fully restore it, take it all apart, put it back together, and I can't wait. So, if you want to see what it is, and you want to see the journey that we're going to go on, then don't forget to subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys very shortly in the next one. That's not the new project car, FYI.